The world is never going to be the same again.
I'm worried about the world.
The mass chaos and crises that there was in the world, it's going to be just like that now.
This is not an accident.
How long is it going to last? Longer than even for those of you that have some cash in the bank, way past your cash reserves.
Out of 100 people, 4 will get the message.
This thing isn't going to be over in a few weeks. This thing isn't going to be over in a few months.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here, and this emergency video and this aggressively average content for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, the crypto market fell from the heavens last night, and isn't it interesting that massive crypto crashes like that always happens at the worst times for American retail investors? I've said this before and I'll say it again. America is Asia's exit liquidity. This is a transfer of power, a global transfer of wealth from west to east. That's exactly what's going on. And crypto is just one example of that. Here we have this massive tweet from blockchain backer. He stated that Bitcoin fell to $42,000, a 40% fall from the November 10th high. And for him, he thinks the Bitcoin bear market has reared its ugly head. But one thing you need to be excited about, and that I personally believe in, is that the altcoin market during this retrace is going to explode. This is where altcoin season comes. This is where savages like us make our profits. Yesterday was ugly and should have humbled all of you. I've been calling for a massive, catastrophic 70% market correction for a long time. Been priming your minds for something like yesterday to come. And what I'm telling all of you is, that wasn't even it. Was that scary yesterday? Then you should be humbled. Humbled enough to make damn sure you take your profits when they're there. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was a powerful lesson for the crypto investor, and I'm glad you guys experienced it. I have not folded, and I will not break. I am confident in our altcoin profits coming. And as you slowly start to see some people that used to be bullish become bearish on altcoins, I accumulated, and I'll continue to hold strong through it because I know what's coming next. We have to remember, back in 2017, after Bitcoin is topped, that is when XRP finally took off. XRP was the last to move in this crypto bull run of 2017. And altcoins in general moved very late relative to Bitcoin's bear market. After Bitcoin completely corrected, that is when altcoins were able to take off. We say that the money from Bitcoin began to trickle into the other alts as people wanted to make more profits. And I 100% agree. I think what's about to happen next will shock all of you in the best way possible. But now, this is where I say you have to have your exit strategy and price targets ready for all your altcoins. And for months, I've been helping people in my mentorship program mentally brace themselves for what's coming. This is what's coming next. It's going to be extremely difficult to protect your wealth, as the everything bubble is going to implode. Oh man, it's gonna get rough. But if you own assets at times like these, you'll be successful and you'll persevere. Asset prices across the board are gonna get volatile, in my opinion. And there's gonna be a powerful reason why. It's because the state of policy and the central banks, they're changing. Please listen to Christine Lagarde very quickly as she lets you know the catastrophe they're about to create.
An inflation profile which looks like a hump, So it has clearly increased over the last 3 quarters. And we know how painful it is. We know that, life is more expensive as a result, particularly for those people who have low income and who are more exposed to prices rising, particularly when, you fill up the tank. But we see it as a hump, and a hump eventually declines. And this is what we project for 22, that inflation will decline over the course of 22.
Uh-oh. It's starting to decline? You mean to tell me that they're finally going to stop inflating the currency into oblivion? Ladies and gentlemen, I take everything these central bankers say with a grain of salt, but if this is in fact the case, this is affecting markets. We have been propped up by artificial money and fantasy economics for about 2 years now. A health crisis turned into a financial crisis turned into government intervention a market does not make. The stock market is not the economy. The real economy is people suffering. Just imagine if the potential of lockdown round 3 comes and they really start this. This is not a game. This is not a drill. This is the tactical annihilation of the middle class. The death by 1,000 cut tax. Inflation is invisible. And we're about to get hit. You see, the reason I'm in crypto, and I've been in crypto for 5 years now, is because I understood that this was going to be the system that would be inversely proportional to the collapse of the fiat currency system. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell is hinting at that on the same day that Christine Lagarde made those statements.
The partnership will support our analysis of digital currencies, including central bank digital currencies, help to improve our current payment system, with a particular focus on making cross-border payments faster and less expensive, and it will provide new tools to aid our supervision of the financial system.
So they're over here talking about digital currencies, central bank digital currencies, improving the payment system, specifically cross-border. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a check mark for our favorite digital asset XRP. While all of crypto is going down, we got more fundamental confirmation that the real world utility and use case of our favorite digital asset XRP will be needed, will be instrumental in making damn sure the financial system works the way it's supposed to. XRP was made for sophisticated institutions. XRP was created to solve a financial crisis, on-demand liquidity to be brought in for a liquidity crisis, here to unclog the drains of the financial system. Let me ask you guys a question. If you sell all of your crypto profits, what the hell are you gonna do? If you sell all your crypto at a loss, what the hell are you gonna do? Are you going to go into cash, which is infinitely going to zero? That's so silly. I'll take a 70% crypto correction over going into cash, because we're going 10,000% in the other direction after it happens. That's the fact of the matter. Now, I'm not saying to do any of that right away. Of course, I'll take partial profits from my coins across the board, because we have to. But what I'm saying is, be strategic. Don't just panic sell into a currency going to zero. That is not what wealthy people do. Please listen to someone who's a billionaire already, Ray Dalio, tell you exactly how to plan for what's about to come.
How do you value this market today?
I think that just the way you said it is going to be a fool's journey. To say, here's the stock market, and I'm going to time the movement into the market. I'm going to time the movement out of the market. Okay, you know what that means? Okay, you're going to guess what the next variant move is and what the next other thing is. A lot of things depend on a lot of other things, and the world and everything readjusts. What has to happen, I think, is investors, most importantly, have to realize two things. First, that cash is not a safe investment, is not a safe place, because it will be taxed by inflation. There will not be an interest rate that will anywhere near compensate. And it seems good because it's not volatile, but you're paying a tax of a few percent a year on that. So A, stay out of that. And then B, know how to balance a portfolio, because the way portfolios work, it's almost like for some part, something happens, another thing happens. In other words, what you can see in the markets today is that, let's say, when equities go down because growth expectations falter and there's a greater likelihood of easing, then you see the bond market go up. And when you see other markets, gold, you're seeing, watch the market action on every day, and you could see those relationships. But wealth is not destroyed as much as it is transferred. And if you know how to balance those investments, we do it in what we call an all-weather portfolio. But if you know how to balance those investments, that's the most important thing. Be in a safe, well-balanced portfolio. You can reduce your risk without reducing your return, and you will not market time this, because even if you were a great market timer, the things that are happening can change the world, so it changes what should be priced into the market.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you take profits, because you're protecting against your own ignorance. Usually, when things are overvalued or make parabolic runs, such as the crypto space, they'll make up a narrative in order to collapse it. Regulations, I think that's going to be a pin that pops the crypto bubble. Tether as well, Evergrande. Ladies and gentlemen, what can happen with crypto exchanges? All these things need to be factored in. All these things are at play. We have a short period of time to be able to profit from these altcoins to change our lives, so we can diversify into other assets like real estate, like stocks, like precious metals, like building our businesses and our dreams. This is what crypto is. It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle to help us get 10 steps forward. Everyone in the world has taken 10 steps back except 1% of the planet. We are the new 1%. Rob Art and Credible Crypto are confirming we are still in a bull market. This is not over, and I have to stress that. But guys, it will end, and it will end soon. Remember, a 70% correction has been predicted by El Toro Loco, and I'm one of the most bullish crypto investors you'll ever meet in your life. Please listen to Coach JV tell you a couple things that could have happened and could be happening. Gary Gensler and Jay Clayton had a meeting the other day, and it's an ominous sign we have to pay attention to.
Here's Jay Clayton, Gary Gensler at a crypto compliance conference. How ironic is that? You got the former SEC chairman who threw out the Ripple lawsuit on December 22nd to leave to consult for a cryptocurrency fund that 2 days before the lawsuit was dropped, increased their position in Bitcoin and Ethereum by $600 million. And he admits in the video that I show you by clicking here, click the link in my bio, that yes, he consults for 2 cryptocurrency funds. They're having a conversation around crypto clarity and regulation. And for some reason, they don't speak a word of XRP. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. This is all by design, warriors. What I tell you will happen, guaranteed will happen, is if crypto exchanges, once regulation comes out, do not fall under or operate under the regulatory framework that they create, they're going to get wiped out. So the thing you need to focus on the next year to 2 to 3 years going into 2025 is make sure that the cryptocurrencies you're in, the exchanges that you're on, are going to be in alignment with the regulatory framework that they create within America. Because if your exchange in the future is not reporting 1099s, they can't get a hold of the big profits you're making, the capital gains you're making, and tax the shit out of you, they're going to shut them down, Warriors.
Ladies and gentlemen, I 100% agree with what Coach JV just stated. Crypto companies and compliance are going to go astronomical. And all the money in crypto that's in all these new shit coins and nonsense coins will be consolidated into a few major coins. Also, what he stated about exchanges is 100% correct. They're looking for stablecoin regulations. They're looking to regulate exchanges. They're looking to regulate the nonsense cryptos. Guys, this is what's going to collapse the market. But at the same time, this is what's going to, in the long term, bring our life-changing generational wealth. We're here for the generational wealth. Right now, we're just going to get rich off our profits. What we do after this, that's what's really going to decide the people who get broke afterwards because they spent their money on Lambos, or the people that made wealth for their kids. Money is a representation of the life decisions you've made. And all my savages that watch my channel every day, I have faith in all of you to make the right ones. Now, before I cap off this video for today, I have this from Breaking Live, as the IMF's managing director, Kristalina Georgieva, stated that action to control inflation must occur in the United States, but not necessarily in other countries. Wow! Do you want to know why? The reason is because the US dollar is the world's reserve currency, at least up to this moment in time. And the more the US inflates the dollar into infinity, the more the rest of the world suffers. The US, we apparently have to be under strict constraints relative to the rest of the world. In an ideal world, I wish we were on a gold standard. I wish we were on sound money. I wish they weren't inflating the currency at all, because we know that that eventually brings up prices and sends our wealth, our currency, to zero. Guys, this is interesting, because if they are in fact going to try to control inflation in the US, they may try to raise rates. And if that happens, kaboom, everything gets destroyed. This fake fantasy economics bull run that we've been having, that's going to stop. Recession time hits, everything collapses. And it's looking like that's lining up to be exactly what occurs. Did you listen to what Christine Lagarde stated? That was massive. Take that into account. If they're going to slow down inflation, that's something that they may implement. Ladies and gentlemen, we're projecting into the future and what's going to cause this 70% correction, as well as preparing for this immediate bull run that's about to come. Now guys, to cap off this video for today, I need you all to listen to this interview very quickly, because I believe this is exactly what's going to happen. Please take a listen.
Alternatively, there's Mark Carney's idea, the so-called synthetic hegemonic currency, a phrase he coined, as it were, at the Federal Reserve's Jackson Hole conference in 2019. As I understand it, this is the idea that an unspecified entity, maybe the IMF, would issue a digital unit backed by a basket of national CBDCs, perhaps with the same weights as the IMF's special drawing rights. This would be an attractive alternative to the dollar as a form of international reserves, the argument goes. And if central banks held the synthetic hegemonic currency issued by the IMF as reserves, global banks, the argument goes, would find it attractive to issue securities denominated in the synthetic hegemonic currency. and importers and exporters would invoice and settle their transactions in the synthetic hegemonic currency. I think the kindest thing one can say about these arguments is that they are incomplete. Central banks hold reserves in dollars because private financial transactions are conducted in dollars. And those central banks want to be able to provide dollars when the need arises. Moreover, central banks can be confident that the Federal Reserve will provide dollar swap lines and ensure adequate access to dollars in extreme events like those of September 2008 and March of 2020. Do we really think that governments and the US Congress in particular will empower the International Monetary Fund to inject large amounts of new synthetic hegemonic currency into the global financial system over a weekend in response to comparable events? Finally, there's the fact that Carney's synthetic hegemonic currency, like special drawing rights, like the SDR, is no one's natural.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the last thing he said was currency. That's important. What Mark Carney was describing does not come from a single country, similar to XRP. Interesting that Mark Carney also had a proof of concept with Ripple while he was at the Bank of England. All of this is interesting, as the IMF will be revaluing the SDR this July, right about the time where this SEC case with Ripple should be settled. Let me make this clear, it could very well settle as soon as now, but we should have clarity by minimum that point, in my opinion. The reason that's interesting is because the US and Congress, they might be more open to IMF intervention if it's coming from Ripple and XRP in the United States. Guys, the IMF, they warned of an economic collapse, and the IMF is typically very conservative when it comes to the economy. They're always optimistic, and the fact that they're being apocalyptic should concern all of you. Guys, we are ready for anything. We're going to own the few assets that are able to withstand the upcoming paradigm shift and this economic collapse. This is going to be hard. Brace for impact. We were all trained for this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.